Hi guys, I just wanted to elaborate a little bit more on this point 11 here, have brackets and multiplication be equivalent in the working formula. So I just want to show you one of the example questions that we've got here. So with this particular question, most students would obviously type in 5 times 9 minus 11. But an equally valid way of typing in this line of working, and what a lot of students would also do, would be to do 5 bracket 9 minus 11. And you can see that that's not getting marked accepted. So even though this first line is getting accepted, this second one is not. So what we mean by have brackets and multiplication be equivalent is that we ideally would like to not have to manually type this step into the working formula, but get it accepted just when we have this one typed in, if that makes sense. So I just want to make a couple points here. First is that although this looks weird, I know that this looks weird here on the control panel, but it does actually display normally on the student side, so it wouldn't look that strange, so a lot of students would probably be typing this in. So my second point is that we can, of course, type these steps in manually instead of having them just be automatically accepted. We can, of course, put these in, and for this particular question, the only extra line of working we have to put in is this one particular one for that first line of working. So for this question, it wouldn't take us, of course, that much time or effort to put in this extra line of working to make sure that that gets accepted as well. But it can become a bit more involved when you have a different type of question. So if, for example, I show you this question, of course, the normal way a student would type it in would be 4 times 7 times 3, and you can see that's getting marked right. What we'd like to also be equivalent would be 4 bracket 7 bracket 3. Now you can see that it's not being accepted at the moment. And as I said before, we can put this in manually, but if we did put this step in manually, one of the ramifications of that would be that because the working formula doesn't think these two lines are the same, and it doesn't think that these are getting multiplied together, numeric simplification no longer works. So it won't, for example, use the commutative law on a statement like this. That means that if we did type in this particular line into the working formula, if a student then went in to type in bracket 7, bracket 4, bracket 3, that would not get accepted. So we need to type in all the different permutations of these particular lines. That would be an extra 6 accepted lines of working in this one particular question. So as you can imagine, that creates quite a bit of extra work for us. So what we would like to see is for these bracketed versions to be the same, or at least deemed equivalent as this multiplied step above. Another point that I would like to make is that this only happens when you try to put two bracketed numbers only together. So if, as I mentioned in the document, if you have any expression, then it deems the two bracketed expressions as equivalent. So it will use the commutative law, and it does do numeric simplification, but it just doesn't work when you have two numbers together. So I'd just like to show you one final quick example of this particular issue. Is that if we have this question, for example, of course most students would type in 3 times 3 squared, and of course the other line of working option is 3 bracket squared, and it looks like this has been typed in manually. Another consequence of numeric simplification not working is that it means that this is now not going to get accepted. So we'd have to type this manually in as well. So I hope that helps demonstrate what exactly we were meaning by that particular issue. If you'd like any further information on how we use this or why this is something that we're after, then please don't hesitate to get